Hello and welcome to another episode of Meet the Makers. So we were in Tokyo recently covering the 20th edition of DigiCon Awards, and in a first, an Indian short film, the gold entry from India, won the grand prize. And today we have with us the creator of that film, Deathofafather, Mr. Somnath Pal. First of all, congratulations. This is the first time an Indian film has won. And I saw the works, all of them were really good. But again, the best one wins according to the jury. So how do you feel about that?
Oh, it was absolutely elating. I did not think I had a chance on this because some of the films were my personal favorites, including that of Tomoki Misato's My Little Goat. So I'm just surprised that I won, to be honest.
For our viewers who have not watched the short film yet, can you please give them an idea what is it about?
My short film?
Yes.
Oh yeah. So basically, it's about kind of de-romanticizing death when. Generally death in films and literature has been romanticized, and when you personally experience the same yourself, you realize that it's surrounded by so many rituals. And I don't want to be harsh here, you understand? It's apathetic, you see people just asking you to do things and you don't relate to a lot of them, and you're just doing it for let me put it, I don't know a better way to put it, for the sake of doing it, right? Because culturally you feel, you shouldn't be doing anything which is offensive, so you just participate, and I think that's what I wanted to convey, that there's a sense of disassociation involved, which I experienced, and I wanted the viewers to feel that as well.
Right. So you created this movie, I think, around a year back?
Yeah, it finished in October 2017.
All right. So which all festivals or where has your content traveled?
Oh, the major ones being Stuttgart and Annecy. Annecy was huge.
Okay.
So yeah, and there have been other screenings, including in Japan and Seoul. A few more in Europe. One in UK.
So the topic that you touched upon is not something you see every day, people touching upon it. Maybe everybody thinks about it. So what made you bring this out in a short film?
You kind of answer the question for me. Because it's not being done, it's an impetus for me to do it, right? Because I feel animation as a medium is one of those, we shouldn't be in a position, like we shouldn't be limiting the potential of this medium, right? And if we can bring different kinds of narratives, the medium gets richer. So I just see it as that. And the fact that nobody is doing content like that is motivation enough for me to go ahead and just bring that into this medium.
So when we watch Deathofafather, we see it's beautifully embellished with all the nuances of the culture. Maybe as you say, Probashi Bangali or a Bengali staying away from Bengal, how he's holding on to things, or maybe the pictures, maybe the small, even the littlest of detail is something that we should be keeping an eye out. So how much did you research for this?
So I did research for this. I don't like touristy viewpoints. I call these as touristy viewpoints when the rich, they make film about the poor thinking what the poor would be feeling instead of knowing what the poor feels, if I may put it that way. So I call this the touristy view, that you don't know a context well and you just have an overview of things. I did not want that in my film, so despite being of the same context, I went back to Lucknow, did my research, attended a few funerals, I had to dig into my family nuances as well, how things are kept in a household. Because if I'm trying to bring out the idea of an immigrant Bengali, I have to understand what makes an immigrant, right? So I had to understand how attempts are being made to preserve culture in this household. So there are scenes, there is a room, particularly his father's room, which has nuances which are borrowed from the East. The bed, the way it has been designed, all of that. At the same time, I attended a lot of, I somehow figured out a way to get into hospitals, and I understood how doctors behave, And again, this was not a moralistic take on that. I was not there to make an opinion of them. It was just that I had to...
Observation.
Exactly. I had to be true to the observation that I'm making. Otherwise, I would have ended up making something which was very, very shallow, which I didn't want.
Right. So, you are an indie creator.
I would love to think that.
Yeah. So, how many people did help you out during this film?
The list is huge because for the first 8 or 9 months, I was working all by myself. But then, okay, I'm considering only the production part of it. I'm not considering sound or music here because that's a separate department by itself, and I would have had to reach out to them in any case. Just for the production bit, I had a few friends helping me out. Like people were coming in, going, like moving out, that sort of a thing. But by the end of it, like 5-6 people were consistently throughout the project. In the last 4 months.
So again, as you would love to think about it, that you are an indie creator. What is it to be like an indie creator, animation indie creator in India?
What excites me as an independent creator, I don't really see the market of it in a commercial world or the more popular mainstream world, not the commercial world, let's say, the mainstream world. And that's one of the reasons why it's difficult for me to get finances, not for this film, but in general, I would say.
So funding is a problem.
Funding is definitely a problem. I don't know if there are any funds, I'm not aware of, if there are any public funds which can help animation films.
Okay.
You know, at the same time, the kind of films I want to make, I don't really see a market for that. Like, I don't know, like one of the biggest challenges I faced, not challenges, but one of the biggest questions that I faced even with Deathofafather was, why did I want to make an animation film out of this? Now, if people can't understand the point of making an animation film, then I don't know how to, pitch it. You know, because it's all about the nuances which animation heightens, which live action doesn't for me. And that kind of cuts away your possible investors, if I may say.
Okay, suppose I am an indie creator, I have an idea in mind. What is the next thing I should do? Run for funding or get all my storyboarding done? What is your perspective on that?
Yeah, I really want to create a strong voice for myself, which is different from, if I may say, in some ways from the existing creators. So that when people look for my film, they know that they're going in, they're signing in for that particular voice. You know, like if I'm going to watch an Amit Datta film, I'm going there expecting it to be an Amit Datta film, right? Not anybody else. So I would really want to develop a strong voice which can be associated to me, so that I can sustain myself. Otherwise, if I have too many voices, then people will not know as to what I want to communicate, you know, over a period of time.
I'm sure that you're not gonna spill everything, but what are your plans going forward now that this was pretty big a milestone?
Yeah, I'm just hoping I get to make more films. I'm trying to work on something else, and soon I'll be in a position where I'll be doing the whole thing of pitching it to people, trying to raise funding, trying to figure out a production house who's, you know, interested. So that sort of a thing. But I'm sure this award will definitely help.
Alright, thank you so much. So if you really want to watch Deathofafather, which I think you should, it's a beautiful short film, you can watch it on YouTube on Royal Stag Battle Select Large Short Films, and all the other films from the awards are available on DigiCon's website. Thank you.